There are 13 dark patterns which have been identified by the CCPA under the 2023 guidelines, where they are, just mentioned that these dark patterns are around 21,000 crore last year, were lost to cyber frauds. And these frauds were not just scammers, these are the fraud at fraud. And this is a surprising thing because you never actually look into your statement on a daily basis until and unless you realize that there is a. So this is important to know that how these, auto payment mandates are working and what you need to know about that auto pay debit request. And in fact, the money is getting debited from your bank account. Platform in India was basically, one. Hello everyone, welcome to Attorney Speaks, and I'm back with another very interesting episode for all of you. This is going to be a very informative session because I'm going to talk about something which we use on a daily basis, and that is our bank accounts. So we use our bank accounts on a daily basis, and we generally, because of our busy schedules, because we get on with life, we basically try to ignore certain things which appear to be, tedious for us. We don't check our bank statements on a very regular basis, and we don't even check for, the kind of auto payments which have been deducted from our accounts on a regular basis. So I am going to talk about certain dark patterns. There are 13 dark patterns which have been identified by the CCPA Indian Authority under the 2023 guidelines, where they are, just mentioned that these dark patterns are the patterns where people, are scammed into, early subscriptions or paid subscriptions or auto pay mandates that they've never signed up for. So this is interesting to know. So if, I want to tell you, I will tell you a very, rough figure. Around 21,000 crore last year, were lost to cyber frauds. And these frauds were not just scammers. These are the frauds which are, the subscriptions, the paper plans, the automatic updates, or the e-debit updates, etc. All those constituted to all that fraud. And this is a surprising thing because you never actually look into your statement on a daily basis until and unless you realize that there is a recurrent small amount of payment, getting debited from your account on a regular basis. By the time you get to know that, you must have, lost, thousands of rupees, or, must have lost, quite a fortune. So this is important to know that how these, e-auto payment mandates are working and what you need to know about that. So the CCPA identified 13, dark patterns, out of which, there are, false urgency, there are, basket masking, and, there are things like, malwares, etc. So basically, if you don't opt for a service and still you're getting, auto pay debit request, and in fact, the money is getting debited from your bank account, it's actually a legit scam. And how people fall into that is very interesting because, there are different ways, these kind of subscription etc model works. But let me tell you, one of the premium ticketing platform in India was basically warned by CCPA for using a 1 rupee donation, pre-checked, the pre-checked box for 1 rupee donation, and they were using it on a regular basis. So people were just opting for buying the tickets, and they were clicking on the buy button, they were buying the tickets, and there was an automatic debit of rupee 1 as donation. And this was a pre-clicked option, so user never selected that. So this kind of a warning came to very famous ticketing platform, where CCPA warned them of potential consequences of this kind of practicing of a dark pattern. So this is an interesting thing. Then there are certain airlines also which probably tell you to buy their products that is nothing but the tickets, but add-on services, and if you don't buy it, there is stressful shaming pattern that they follow. Like if you want to put yourself at risk, go ahead and buy. And you generally you get stressed about the fact that I don't want to put myself into a risk, by flying, right? And you opt on for certain, commodities. So this is a very classical, dark pattern, which is popularly known as, the, false urgency or the stressful buying. So it's one of the 13th identified dark pattern, which has been pointed out by the CCPA. So you can find a list of the, total dark patterns here, and you will get to know about how these dark patterns affect your transactions on an everyday basis. One interesting fact is sometimes you sign up for one service, for one paid subscription, and you end up getting 5 automatic e-pay mandates in your bank account. At the end of the day, you're surprised that you opted for one service, and how can you get 5 or 6 different auto pay mandates, and money's getting debited from your account on a regular basis. So that kind of a thing is is, you signed up for one form, and that one form or one subscription, send it to third parties, and the third parties, have this, access to debit mandates. And that is why, you are being charged with a recurring amount. These amounts are generally small. Sometimes, they are, as small as a 99, 100, or 299, and you generally skip these things because they are purposely designed to be skipped in your bank statements. And sometimes, it's an interesting pattern. Then you see very vague names appearing in the bank statements you've never opted for, and when you try to find them, you don't recollect where did you get the subscription from, or did you pay for the subscriptions. These are purposely designed as vague so that you don't get to the point where you understand who has been charging you. So these are dark patterns which a lot of illegitimate businesses and the subscriptions are using. And this is an alarming pattern, because India lost about 21,000 crore in the last year for such scams from subscription payment schedules, etc. So it's very important for you to know that what are the red flags that we see on a regular basis, and we should not ignore. So the first is, check for just open your bank account or UPI account, whatever you use it, check for the UPI mandates, check for the automatic debits. And if you have anything which is set up as an auto debit mandate and you have not signed up for that, cancel it. Inform your bank, inform it urgently, and cancel it right away. Second thing which you need to look for is, in your bank statements you see the names which are very vaguely appearing, and they are debiting small amounts recurrently. Those names, if you try to Google them, definitely Google them. If you don't get to a point where you can recollect who exactly paid for it or whether you opted for it or not, just cancel that auto subscription, because this must be a sort of a dark pattern operating in the background. Other thing which is very important is, always keep a check on your bank statements, right? Not actively, but diligently, and knowingly. You should know what kind of subscriptions you have opted for. Make a list, to do reminders, etc. If you have ongoing subscriptions coming up, so that you don't end up paying subscriptions you've never opted for, right? And other thing which I want you to be aware of, like, if you get involved in these kind of like scams, etc., or money gets auto debited, and I'm sure that it must have happened to each and every one of us at any point of time. And despite of being educated, despite of being legally aware, this can happen to anybody. So you have to take care of the fact that, yes, what is being debited from your account has been debited with your active consent or not. It's very important to check on all the e-payment updates, auto debit mandates, I've already told you. And if at all something of that sort happens, there is a portal, there is a dedicated helpline 1930, which you can utilize to report the cyber fraud on the call. And you can also visit the cyber fraud website of Government of India to report these kind of transactions. You should have a screenshot, you should have the transaction IDs, and better if you report it within 24 hours, because that is going to escalate your matter in a righteous manner. And the other thing is, you can also if nothing is working, you can talk to your bank, cancel the auto payment mandates, and there you go. If still you don't resolve your query, you always have an RBI ombudsman where you can report this case and these kind of cyber frauds to the RBI directly. So hope this video helps you and gives you more information about how these dark patterns operate in the background, and you end up losing money, and you don't even realize that you have actually opted for such services or not. So do follow Attorney Speaks for more such interesting topics, and do share, like, and comment. And if you like this video, share it with the people who require it the most. Thank you very much, and see you.